Hi, this is Lee Solden. I'm going to teach you some Filipino. It's a dialect of Tagalog. This is the 8th video in the series. Please listen to the first 7 first. Okay. Ended the last video stumbling over the verb bigay. Okay. Ibigay, I verb. The reason why I stumbled over it a bit, I chose a bad verb for a first example to show you, because bigay has an I in it already, B-I-G-A-Y. When you add the I-N infix after the B, you end up getting an I-N-I sitting there. Well, so you might think, well, did you put an N-I infix in there? Well, no, you never put an N-I infix in, but it kind of looks like you did, and I thought I might have. Where does an N-I come in? If you have a root word, base word, that starts with different letters, L, R, Y, and H and W, then instead of putting an NI infix, you put an NI prefix. So there can be NI prefixes, but then with the I verbs, you can also then at the last step put an I in front, which is optional sometimes. So now it looks like an infix. Now it looks like an NI infix, even though it was put there as a prefix when you're the mechanics of making it, right? So anyway, altogether, the I verbs for a beginner are confusing enough not to start with B guy, which already throws an extra I in there. Okay. So rather than going over EB guy any further, I'll give you a better example. Okay. Sulat, to write. S-U-L-A-T, sulat. This means right. You make the infinitive to write out of that. You add an I in front, so it's an I verb. Isulat, to write. The past is isinulat. Simply stick an I-N infix in there. Why? Because it's the action started. So, okay. Does it need any doubling? No, it's not the murky future or the present tense, which is used for the future. In English, it's a memory trick. Okay. So no doubling. So just simply add the IN to isulat. You got isinulat. The present does take doubling, and it's also started action. So it goes isinusulat. Okay. So you start out susulat, and then putting an in after the first s gives you seen usulat. Tack on the I in the front, which is optional. Whenever you add the in infix or a ni prefix, the adding the I is optional. If you recall, in the in verbs, usually the in disappears from the end. Okay, when you put it in the in infix, and it can be the same for the I verbs, but it's optional. You can just leave the I there. Okay. Okay, the future, there's no infix, but you do have to double the su lot and sulat, so it's you go to susulat and then susulat. Okay, and I think it's pretty common to leave the I there, to actually have the I there in this case. Susulat for the future. Mechanics for the present tense. Covered that pretty well. Just want to note, if you're looking at a verb form, if someone left the I off, or an I verb. It's going to look just like an IN verb a lot of times. Because in both cases, you put a IN infix with the same rules. Okay, so if they left that I off, it's going to look like an IN verb. There's no suffix at all for an I verb, right? So the just note that you often cannot tell unless by experience, knowing which verbs use I, which ones use IN. Okay, and so now we're starting lesson 11, I should say story 11 on this video, which I'll read the name of it, https:// www.youtube, that's youtube.com, com/WATCH equals small z, small o, capital C, capital E, small j, capital P, dash, capital T, 810. Okay, story 11, ear tuning syllables. Go to my first video to understand what you do with these ear tuning syllables, okay? You can hear Filipino within a few days just fine if you do the ear tuning exercises plus surround yourself with passive listening. In other words, while you're eating, getting ready to go to sleep, studying other subjects, listen to your favorite music in whatever language, have it playing passively. And again, go to video number 1. So I'll put the link to that in the comments, and do the ear tuning exercises. Okay, and you'll be hearing this Filipino very well, which will allow you to absorb it by that same passive listening. Now, the passive listening starts out as tuning the ear. Then, while you're learning the story, it's also looping in the background. You learn it 5 times faster because it's looping in the background while you're studying it. Well, I don't believe in studying at all. I do read-throughs. I'm guiding you here through read-throughs. This video starting with story 11. What does that mean? I'm giving you notes what the first sentence means. What do you do with that? You look that over. You don't try to study it. You just look it over so you understand it for the moment. And then you listen to it while reading it 3 times. Then you close your eyes, listen 3 times. Then you look at my notes again as needed. Maybe you're all set. Maybe you're a more advanced student. You got it already. You know how the setting goes. But if you don't know yet, you're new, look it over again and then read it 3 more times while listening. Close your eyes, listen 3 more times for understanding. Now, at that point, you may not understand it when it's spoken to you. That's okay. You don't need to. This is not studying. You're just exposing your speech center to the connections, to the associations between the target language and the known language, which I'm using English for the known language, okay? So what does your brain do with that? Overnight, it puts things together for you, so tomorrow morning you wake up knowing more of this language, okay? The target language here being Filipino. Every morning that you've done the read-throughs the day before, you wake up knowing more Filipino the next morning. That's the whole goal. You let your speech center do all the work. And warning, if you only rely on that and you're not doing your passive listening, well, okay, altogether you've lost 80% of the effectiveness of this program because you're not doing your passive listening. If you're not doing your ear tuning exercises to get a native ear, toward getting a native ear for Filipino, then you're not really hearing it right, which defeats the whole purpose of doing the read-throughs. So you're trying to learn the language by primarily listening to it. If you can't hear it right because you haven't tuned your ear into it, it doesn't do a lot of good. So you can learn a language very, very quickly with this method. Let your speech center do all the work. And So you get a quick, easy process. Or you can try studying it, which is completely counterproductive because you should be listening to it instead. Okay. And you can take forever and not really get very far. You diligent enough, yeah, you'll learn eventually. But I would go my way. Okay. I'm just trying to tell you why study. Why worry about it when you can just soak it up with this method? Okay. Okay. Sentence number one. And sentence is also screen number 2 on the audiobook because I put it all together here. Okay. No hindi I ko lightness marker po really talaga understood naintindihan all lahat of ng spelled ng discussed tinalakay in sa klase a little while ago or today kanina. Ear tuning syllables for the first sentence. Hindi ko po talaga naintindihan lahat ng tinalakay sa klase kanina. Okay. I'm doing the ear tuning syllables for the whole story 11. Hindi ko po talaga naintindihan lahat ng tinalakay sa klase kanina. Sige, mayroon ka bang mga tanong? Opo, medyo marami po. May oras po ba kayo niya yon? Medyo abalaho niya yun pumuntan ka na lang sa aking opisina mamayang hapon. Andon, excuse me, andoon ako mula alauna hanggang alas 4 ng hapon. Ayos po asahan niyo po ako ng alas 2. Okay, now go to sentence 2. No, but I did sentence 2 as part of sentence. We did it all together as part of sentence 1. Okay. Okay, going over the verb to understand. Okay. Intindi is the base word from Spanish, entender, to understand. Typically, when they're borrowing a Spanish verb, they drop the R off of it. So we go from entender to entenda. Then they change the vowels from entenda to intindi. Okay, so that doesn't, maybe not all that recognizable to you, but if you know Spanish, it's helpful to know that this is just Spanish. Okay, type verb, ma, but with an han ending, used in all forms. It's a little bit of a twist. Okay, but it's conjugated like a ma verb otherwise. So you could consider intindihan as the base word used. Okay. Note that there is an in verb off of intindi. Okay. Now I'm just going to conjugate the ma verb that's here in the story. Ma intindihan. That again is intindi with the han. Okay, in all forms. And to make ma verb infinitive, just add a ma in front of it. Okay, so next, past tense. Well, started, so you need the signal for the ma verbs, which is switch it to na. Go from ma to na. So, na intindihan. Okay, simple enough. Go to present tense. You need that signal, ma to na, and you need to double the I in front of intindi. Now, intindi starts with an I as a vowel, so you only double the vowel from intindi to intindi. Intindi to intindi. tindi. Okay, so it's na, I, in, tindihan. Going to the future tense, that hasn't started, so the ma stays ma. You do need the doubling because murky, the present and the future tenses per my little memory trick. Okay, doubling the first letter, just the I here in this case. Ma, I, in, tindihan. Okay, and keep going here. Repeat my memory trick if this is the first video you heard. Tip for remembering that the present and the future tense take the doubling. The doubling makes the word murkier for us new students of Filipino. And isn't the future murky? In the future tense, in English anyway, don't get this confused of how Filipino works. In English, to represent the future tense, what do we use? We use the future tense. And we use the present tense by putting in a future time reference. I'm going to the store. That's a present tense statement. If I say I'm going to the store tomorrow, now it's future tense, okay? So English uses both the present tense and future tense. Use that line of thought to remember that it's the future and the present tenses in Filipino where you double, okay? Okay. The infinitive talakayin, to discuss. Okay, that's another verb used in the sentence. Talakay equals discussion. It's an IN verb, so just add an IN for the suffix. There's no issue here with there being a O near the end. It would change to a U if there was. If there's an A on the end of the base word, it probably would drop, although I do not believe that's a rule. Okay, so you've got the infinitive, talakayin, talakayin. And you also have the imperative / command form. In all cases, the infinitive is also the command form. Okay. Present tense, using the memory tricks. Murky, yep. Action started, yep. Okay. Present tense. Okay. So what I got a note here. That for the action if the action started, three of the four verb types have a signal that the action started. verbs don't. This is not a verb we're talking about. We're talking about an IN verb. Okay, so the IN verbs, the I verbs, and the MOG verbs, which can be MOG sometimes. Okay, they all have signals. Okay, so here the signal is to move the IN from a suffix, instead not making an infix. Okay. Okay. And if you're starting from the base word, which I do, okay, let's just start with the base word. You just simply add the IN infix. Now, this is the present tense we're talking about, so we also have to do the doubling. So, you start out with talakai. You do the doubling first, okay? Talakai. And then you add in the IN infix, tina talakai, okay? Should it be ta in there somewhere? No, the T got moved to the very front, right? Because IN goes right after that first consonant. which makes it not look like you did the ta-ta doubling. Well, you did. It's just the T is moved. So again, it comes out to tina ta la kai. So teen, the IN's in there. It starts with a T. Teen. Next thing here is the ah. Well, just think of the T and the ah still being together. Da da. It's there, just separated by the IN. Okay. Past tense, not murky. It started and finished. No doubling, and needs a signal. Assuming it's not a UM verb. Okay, that is not a UM verb, so that needs a signal. Talakai to Tina Lakai. Talakai to Tina Lakai. Okay. Future tense, murky, yep. Started, no. So, okay, for the future tense, here's where you got to watch out. If you're starting from the base word, you can't just double. You also have to put the IN prefix, excuse me, the IN suffix back on it, right? If you're starting from the infinitive, which some people like to do, and then you the IN would already be there, right? But if you start with the base word, you got to put the IN suffix on there, same as if it was the infinitive. Of course, you have to double the front. It's murky. Okay, so from talakai to tatalakai-in. I mispronounced it. From talakai to tatalakain. Okay. Checking my work. Oh yeah, I did this by memory. I went back and checked to see if I got the things right. I should say by memory. I did it by my memory tricks. Okay. Sentence 2 is already included in sentence 1. I put the two screens together. Okay, 3, sure, sige. Have, my roon, you, ka, any, bang, plural marker, manga, spelled MGA, manga. Question, tanong. Well, you put the manga, the plural marker in front of tanong. Manga, tanong means any questions. They never use S's. They put the plural marker in front instead, manga. Okay. And the ear-turning syllables for the sentence. Sige, myron ka bang mang atanong. Okay, myron is a base word. It means have. They also mean other things that mean that same thing are my and mayron. And I put a link in here for people who want to go look and see what the exact rules are for when you use my versus myron. For now, I'm just going to tell you that myron is used where the personal pronoun comes after the word, right? So, what came after myron here was the personal pronoun you, ka. So, that's why they chose myron. In a moment, you'll see them using my, M-A-Y, my, in a case where there is no personal pronoun coming after it. Okay. 4. Yes, oppo. So the polite form combines oo, yes, with po, the politeness marker. Okay. Quite, mejo. Many, marami. Means quite many, so she had lots of questions. Okay. Politeness marker, po. C. If you understand Portuguese, you'll see the connection between mejo and quite. In Portuguese, their equivalent word to meja means kinda, right? Okay, and other definitions, but anyway, If you don't know Portuguese, ignore that. Okay. Medyo marami equals quite a lot. Marami also equals much. Sentence 5. Okay, ear-tuning syllables for sentence 4. Opo, medyo, marami po. Okay. Sentence 5. Have, my, time, oras, politeness marker, po, you, kayo, kayo. Question marker, ba, now, ngayon. Ngayon also means today. Okay. Ear-tuning syllables, my oras, po ba, kayo, ngayon. Sentence 6. Quite, medyo, occupied, abala, I, ako. Now, ngayon. See here. And then he says which I believe is just the word is. I could not find any documentation anywhere, but if you know, again, Portuguese or Italian, the letter E is pretty much how they say is, okay? Now the Spanish got brought into this language from hundreds of years ago. So I don't know all the ins and outs of all that, but it sure sounds like he's saying I am busy now is. So just he is busy now, he's kind of saying, I believe. Ear-turning syllables for that. Medyo, abala, ho, nya, yun, e. See, speakers using ko instead of ako. I think he just shortened it. And pronounces the K like an H in ako. So he's saying aho. Well, the H and the K are kind of close. Could I be mishearing it? It's possible. But it sounds like he's saying aho instead of ako. And he also says nyayun instead of nayon. So it uses the nayun. Well, nayun is simply alternative word for nayon. They both mean the same thing. Now or today. Okay. Sentence 7. Visit pumunta you ka connector na just lang at sa my aking office oficina. That's from Spanish oficina. Okay. Well, they don't have F's in this language, so they use P's. So instead of oficina, it's oficina. In the afternoon. The phrase in the afternoon is mamayang hapon. Hapon's afternoon. Mamayang is just a word. It introduces the time frame of the day. Mamayang hapon. Ear-tuning syllables, sentence 7. Pumunta ka na lang sa aking opisina mamayang hapon. Infinitive pumunta, it's a verb, comes from punta, the suffix. So from punta to pumunta. Okay. Punta, the root word or the base word, equals going. So, okay. Pumunta equals to go or to visit. In this case, for the sentence, it's visit. And verbs are unique in that when you add that infix, you get not just the infinitive, which is also always the command form in all verb types. You also get the past tense. Okay, verbs have no signal for action started, and they couldn't have one for the past tense, could they? Because, well, the past tense is the same as the infinitive, right? Anyway, and for the present tense, the infix goes there, okay? So again, just like in the infinitive, so, and then of course the present tense takes doubling too, but there just is no signal whatsoever in either the present tense or past tense that the action started with the verbs. Okay. Infinitive, pumunta, to visit, to go. Root word punta. Okay. I read that paragraph. Okay. Okay. Future tense, pupunta. Okay, is also unique in this, and especially in this one form, the future tense. There is no affix. So you simply, okay, murky, future tense, double. So from punta, it's pupunta. And you're done. That's the future tense. Okay. There is no infix. There's no affix. There's nothing there. When you see something looks like doubling, like poo poo, and you see nothing else, you see no in, you see no I in front of it, you see no infix, no affix, no suffix, nothing. Just assume you've come across a future tense form of a verb. Okay. Okay. Past. Same as infinitive. Pumunta. Just add the infix to punta. Pumunta. Present. You need to double. Then the signal for actions starting does not apply. So you put the infix as normal. And of course, the mechanics are you double first, then you add the infix. Punta to pupunta to pumu punta. Okay. And well, I got some verbiage in there I'm not going to bother reading. It's got a little, how do you remember the future tense where the is missing? Well, I mean, the future is the murkiest of all the murky tenses, right? And so this being missing is the most puzzling form of all, the most murkiest form of all. This future tense for verb with no affix at all, it kind of throws you. So that's the murkiest of them all, and kind of remember that among the murky tenses, it's the future tense is the most murky, right? Okay. Okay, sentence 8. There, on doon, and kind of has the word is, am in front of it, so like there is, on doon. Ako, so there am I, from mula, 1 o'clock, a la una, let's use Spanish, a la un, at the 1, right, at the 1 horas, at the 1 o'clock. Okay. Until hanggang 4 o'clock, a las 4, uses Spanish, of ng afternoon, hapon, of the afternoon, ng hapon. Irritating syllables, ando, on, ako, mula, ala, una, hanggang, a las 4 ng hapon. Sentence 9. Okay, ayos. Politeness marker, po. Expect, asahan, you, neo, alternative form of nino. Okay. Politeness marker, po. I, ako. So you expect me at nang. Using here for a time reference. I usually translate it as of nang, but for time references at. Okay. 2, a las 2. Ios po, irritating syllables. Ios po asahan nyo po ako ng alas 2. Infinitive. asahan, to expect. Base word is asa, which means hope, hope for. Verb type is in, but not typical conjugation because they're putting an han suffix on it, okay, and keeping it. Infinitive form, asahan, just add the han to the base word. Instead of, so it's an in verb, but you put a han at the end, and the han stays there. Unlike with the in suffixes, which go away in two started forms, the past and the present, right? The han always stays there. Okay. Let me see here. Sometimes you add hin too, but instead of in. Okay, and when you add hin or han, they stay there, and the signal is just the for the starting of the action is the putting the in infix in. Okay. So here it is in the command form, asahan. Okay, which if you recognize, should know by now. The command form is the infinitive. Okay. Present tense. You need a signal. Now, this is this base word is asa, starts with a vowel. So you change the in infix to an in prefix. Okay. And you still add the han suffix. Explain that. Han doesn't quite work like in, although it's still considered an in verb. Okay, because the han's always stay there. Okay. Okay, so the present tense, we only double the a because it starts with a vowel, so it goes from asa to aasa. Okay, then it's going to take an in prefix, in aasa. That gives you the present tense. Past tense is in a sahan. Okay. We start out with asa. Excuse me, I'm reading this wrong. This is the past tense. Okay. Past tense, no doubling. It's not with the Mercury tenses. Does take the signal, putting in the in prefix in this case, because asa starts with a vowel. Okay, so it's in a sa han. Han stays there. There's no doubling, not with the Mercury tenses. Okay. Mechanics, asa to on. Okay, assuming you're starting from the base word asa. Sahan. Doubling needed, Mercury tense. Not started, so no signal needed for that. Gets the han suffix. Okay, so asa to aasa to sahan. Okay. Story 12. I'm going to choose doing a separate video. Okay, this is Lee Solden. If you like this, please hit the like button. Okay, share it with your friends. Tell them about it. Subscribe to my channel. Comment. Tell me who you are. Tell me how this is working for you. I want to mention that my intent of making these videos are that you can, if you have zero time to learn Filipino, you can just loop my video, listening to it. That's why I don't have anything in the background you got to worry about looking at. this is meant for you to listen to. Okay? Also made for people who are blind, that they can just listen to this. Um, so I hope it does you some good. If you don't want to loop this, and if you want to actually spend time studying, all the notes from my video will be found in the comments of this video. Okay, and everything I just said will be in the comments, so you can just, if you want to kind of study it instead of just looping this, you can do that. Um, that's about it. Have a great day. I got one more video to do. Get this current series done. Bye.